You see yourself long term, like more years?
Yeah, I can see myself doing that for a long time.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Because there's a challenging part, because the cool thing is you get to understand people's finances. Not only do I do that, but the other challenging thing is I have to understand everyone's business, their whole business model. It's not just like I'm looking at one particular thing. So restaurants have a different business model and financials than someone who owns commercial real estate or apartments, or someone who's working in a different field, like they're building homes, like they're a contractor, or say they own like a tree trimming service or something like that. It's very different. Or they own an auto shop or stuff like that.
Right.
You have to understand every single angle of that.
Yeah. So would you say, since working there, you understand finances better, or just like how to manage your money?
Mm-hmm. I saw when I first started being a loan officer, I was doing personal loans, car loans, mortgages, HELOCs, and equities. And I would see people's tax returns, and I'm seeing, they have properties, and I'm seeing that they have regular income or they have a business. And I'm like, man, how the hell are they making, how much money, and they're not paying that much in taxes, and some of them, and then they own all this real estate. And so I ask questions like, what do you guys do? And they're like, oh, usually I get a home, and then once I get equity, then I take equity out of that, buy another property, and then rent it out, etc.
Damn.
And so I'm, seeing these things as I go. But I'm also realizing that managing your money is important. And I actually didn't start that until, in my process, I didn't start that until, I want to say 4 years ago. Like that.
So what changed? Or
Okay,
but like before, I'm sure you would just get a check and just pay your
I would pay my expenses, and I'd party and stuff like that.
Of course.
I mean, that's everyone's mentality at the young age. But what they don't teach you is, especially in high school, is you need to understand credit. You need to understand how to budget. You need to understand kind of set goals.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think they don't teach that in high school when it's stuff that's so important to everyday life? Like everybody has to learn how to do this at one point. Right? Wouldn't you think it'd be like a mandatory class you'd have to learn in high school or something?
I feel it should be a mandatory thing. I think they kind of leave it up to the family, your parents.
I was just about to say probably to your parents. So I think sometimes these parents have terrible or worse money management than you do. Absolutely. Well, just from not knowing. Yeah.
And also our economy runs in spending. So that's a big thing. That could be a big thing on why they do that. Or maybe it's just the education system. Maybe they just don't have people that do it, or people are not interested in it.
How did you learn how to manage money, or like how to manage your money? No. Is there like something you saw?
So my friend Javier was really good at that. He majored in economics. And so he was always about finance or managing stuff like that. And he would have budgets, and I'm like, okay, what's a budget? Kind of, I mean, I knew what a budget was, but I never
practiced it.
Never stuff like that. And he's like, oh, you should do this, blah, blah, blah. Because he would tell me like, oh yeah, he had a whole bunch of student debt, but he paid it off. He lived with his parents, got a job, paid it off.
Smart.
Done. And he didn't have a car payment because he already had a car paid off from days ago, from when he was in high school. And I was like, well, I want to buy a house at one point, like later on. And so I started tallying what I would get after all taxes and everything were taken out, and 401k. And then I would make a list and say, okay, this is how much my car payment is. This is how much I have for gym, food, etc., stuff like that. And then I try to figure out, this is how much I try to save. And you try to stick with that. And then once you can get to that point, so like say you make $3,000 and you have that budget set, and then you start making $4,000, $5,000. If you keep that same budget,
just more money you're saving.
You're saving more money. And so it kind of follows with, which I started. I had a person that worked there who was an investment person. He started telling me a few things, but I was really young and didn't really pay attention. But he started telling me about Dave Ramsey's 10 baby stats. And I actually didn't start getting into it until last year. But I was already kind of setting myself up that way. And basically what you want to have is cash ready to buy things that you want to own, like assets or stocks, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I started, getting into investments and stuff like that, because I was like I said, when I was doing loans, I was seeing how people were owning multiple real estate, but they were getting a bunch of cash.
Mm-hmm.
On a tax return, they only show so much, but it's hidden in a way how their cash is actually flowing, the cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, man, so people are just, they buy houses.
Legal?
It's sort of legal.
It's all within the rules?
Yeah, it's within the rules. And so I'm like wondering how they, what they do. And so basically they buy properties, and then that extra cash flow that they have, then they end up buying more and more. And then it just becomes an endless cycle on that, if that's what you want to do on that.
Damn.
And so what Dave Ramsey says is basically you want to create an emergency fund, which is what I'm noticing is very important in what's going on right
Especially
now.
yeah.
Because you can see, you saw how you have a job, everything's fine, and then it can just
disappear
shut
like
down.
that.
Yeah, overnight.
Yep.
Does he have like a certain time? Like, is it like an emergency fund for how long after?
So
Like 3 months?
A lot of people recommend 3 to 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
After that, it's just pretty much, you can do better. You can put it into stocks or whatever.
So it's important to know like your monthly spendings, bills, everything you spend on food and gas,
and then try to keep that budget. I mean, you all sway here and there, but once you get a good grip on it, it gets all.
How do you track your budget? Do you write it down? Do you have it on your phone? Do you have like an app? Because I know there's certain apps that you can budget your stuff like that.
Excuse me. There's certain apps. Sorry, I had.
You're good.
There's certain apps that you can use. There's like YNAB. Like
What do you use?
I just use an Excel spreadsheet. You just
track
format.
it.
Yeah, you put in a formula. To do it, just it's simply just put the totals and then do a total whatever, and then
you just look at like your debt, like your app, what you were spending, and you just track everything down.
So I have it set up at work, and I have it set up here. So I have it set up in a way where I know where I'm going to get paid each day, and then what my net is, net money is, or my net paycheck is on the top. And then I have a list like, this is car payment, this is food, this is house payment, this is utilities, this is gym, this is
all your
investments, this is savings, potential savings, etc. And then your total should always be zero. And so you want to allocate money. So if you have any money extra, then you put it either into savings or something else.
Yeah.
But I just use an Excel spreadsheet, because I did use YNAB for a bit, and it's kind of weird because you kind of have to balance it like a checking account, this and that. And I was just like, I'd rather just do it this way, track it that way.
And you said you've been doing that for 4 years. It's been working really well. Would you say you need a lot of like self-discipline?
Yep.
To keep.
I was gonna say, I feel like it's all self-discipline.
Yeah.
Because people always want to party. People always want to go out and eat.
Yeah.
My advice is drinking beer, and so you kind of have to balance it out. Like, you can do all that stuff, but you also, if you have a specific goal, you kind of have to be disciplined. Like, if you want to save up, say I want to save up so I can buy a house later on, you kind of got to be disciplined to get that. Because if you're always, partying and stuff like that, you're going to end up seeing your bank account just stay at the same level. You're going to be living on a paycheck by paycheck basis. And you'll end up like right now, where if you lose your job, you're kind of SOL on that. And so having that 3 to 6 months cushion helps out a lot, because at least you could find another job and still have 3 to 6 months worth of expenses that you can pay and find another job.
And would you say you learned that from working at the savings bank, or is it something that you learned from your friend or looked elsewhere for that advice?
Kind of everything.
Yeah.
Savings, working at the bank, work with my friend, and then just videos, YouTube videos and stuff that friends have told me about.
Damn. Yeah, I need to do that.
Yeah, so anybody can do that. High schoolers can do that. Anyone who has a job or has an allowance, like you can budget.
Yep. Damn. And so basically, you want to eliminate as much debt as you have. I mean, some people don't like debt. Some people aren't, or too much debt. But others see debt as an opportunity to get more money or wealth. And that's what a lot of people do. because some people would rather just buy stuff outright,
Mhm.
and others would say, well, if I can use this cash elsewhere and get like low interest rate, then I protect my cash or protect some of my cash, put some of it down, and then the rest I get in a loan,
Mhm.
and then whatever, depending, like say you're going to buy apartments, you can put down whatever the minimum requirement is, and then you get a loan for that, and then you have the rent covering the payment.
So it's
and
paying
then you get
itself off.
Yep.
Do you think that's smart?
It really just depends what your goals is, but yes, it is. I do think it is smart because it just depends on like, do you want to have a good chunk of your money like come back to you, or and not have that much money right now, or do you want to protect some of your money
Like
right
have
now
it there.
in case of like emergencies,
Damn,
or stuff like
that's
that,
so
Yeah.
smart.
or to buy other investments to keep the cycle going
Yeah.
on that.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Like I just boggled, like, because I have no idea about that. It's just so insane how
No one
much I
teaches
don't
you.
know about money, you know?
Mhm.
And like we're using it every day.
And like I said, I learned that from multiple places and stuff like that. And so if you're gonna acquire a property, you want to make sure that whatever down payment you do and loan you get, the amount of rents that you're getting covers it more than like 1.5 times
Mm.
of the debt.
So you already have a house now. Do you plan on getting multiple properties, or what do you want to do?
That's the goal.
That's the smart move. You can
Yeah.
just rent them out
Yep.
and then just make your money back like that. They could pay off the payments for the houses, and
And that's what people do because
Mhm.
they'll do that and then they don't work, and then you just have multiple income streams.
just bring in money. Yeah, exactly. Multiple income streams. That's
Yep.
exactly
So you can do it real estate, you can do it in stocks.
Mhm.
It just depends what stocks you get.
Yeah.
Whether you sell them at a high price or whatever,
Mhm.
or you get stocks that give you dividends and stuff like that.
Mm.
But
What do you do?
I started dabbling in stocks a little bit
Yeah.
recently.
That's big right now with like
Yeah.
Robinhood and all those other like apps that make it super easy to invest.
Yep.
Robinhood. I just had a buddy of mine send me like a link to sign up for that.
He's trying to get $15 out of you or something like
He
that.
said like we
Don't-
each get
don't
a
click
free
the link.
stock, or he
I'll
gets a
send
free
you my
stock
link.
if
Don't
I.
worry.
Do you have that?
No, but someone was trying to get me into it. Isaac and Edgar, they both sent me their links. Like, hey, dude, I get $10 and you get $10. Like, click my link. Fighting over whose link I would get. It's like, I don't know.
Damn, that's wild. I don't know anything about stocks.
Dude, I don't know.
That's
anything
why
about
I'm
stocks
hesitant
either.
to do it too, because I don't know. I don't know the field. I don't know
Yeah, and like I remember this last semester, my corporate finance professor, he's like the head of the business department. Super good guy, very helpful throughout the whole semester. He was like talking to us about how he invested in like the wrong stocks. So like someone that has so much knowledge about finance, about stocks and bonds, like he's
messed up.
Yeah, he's like, I made mistakes. Like I invested in the wrong stuff. And so it's like, it's so weird. Like this guy that understands so much about the market.
But you learn.
Yeah.
living.
You
But
learn.
it's just, it's,
You don't want to.
that's why I'm just like, dude,
Yeah.
I don't know. This guy doesn't know. I don't know.
It's
You know what I'm saying?
intimidating.
Nobody knows.
It's intimidating to put your money somewhere and just like hope that, okay, I'm going to make money on it eventually.
Yeah.
Right. You just got to leave it there and
It's
be
a huge
patient.
risk.
Yeah, it is a big risk, but you have to think of a long-term plan. Not like you want to do a little. You want to do research. I don't want to say little. You want to do research because you want to make sure that you're not just putting money there and then it's just gonna disappear like that.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make sure that like I invested in companies that I knew very well. Not like knew very well, but they're well known.
Mm-hmm.
Big companies like Apple.
Like Apple, Disney,
Amazon.
McDonald's.
All that stuff.
So would you say that's more safe? Even though it's more
They're
expensive,
safer.
it's safe?
Well, the ones I looked at were more on getting dividends because that's how you get paid, depending on how many stocks you get.
And how often were the dividends?
So let's see. They're every quarter. They pay you every quarter, and if they pay out, it just depends how many you have.
Yeah.
So like right now, I think AT&T is giving 52 cents a share
Mm.
and stuff like that. So if you have a lot of shares, then you're
Yeah.
getting quite a bit.
Yeah, but a
money
company
back.
like AT&T, I'm sure they're
They're stable.
Very expensive.
No, I think they're hovering around $30 a share. The techs are the ones that are super expensive
Mm.
on that. But
Dang.
basically, you have to keep a long-term plan. So my plan was I want to get some of these ones that give you dividends.
Mm-hmm.
But also they're slow growth, but they'll grow. And then you have a chance to get other ones like where you have you have to do research, but you don't know too much about them, but they have potential. Like Tesla's a good one. You don't know how Tesla's going to turn out, but there's a lot of hype on it. And it seems like they're going to do a good job. And so I remember seeing Tesla stocks at like 800 around like early April, and now they're at 1,500.
Yeah, that's what my professor was saying. He's like, Tesla's, it's like a rare example because like the stock, like it's going up, but they're losing money. He's like, it's insane. He's like, I don't understand what's going on. Like if you were to ask me a few months ago, he's like, I wouldn't invest in Tesla. I would advise you not to. He's like, but that's the thing that he was saying. Like it's so unpredictable that you don't know.
There's a lot of hype around it, I think. Helps.
And especially since they did that rocket launch,
Space Force, or what is it?
SpaceX.
SpaceX, yeah.
Space Force. So they did that, and then since Tesla, they're actually manufacturing cars, and they're getting a lot of cars out, and I think they're having good reviews, and that's just what's driving.
That's the future, dude.
Yep.
I'm telling you, the first car I buy is gonna be a Tesla. Speaking into existence, it's gonna be years down the road, but Tesla's making sick ass cars, bro.
Yeah. But think
like rocket ships.
Think long term though when you look at the stocks, because if you try to do short term trade,
like if you want money now, that's usually what gets people.
Yeah, just think of it kind of almost like a 401k, but not. You kind of manage it.
So is the long term goal to eventually sell all your stocks and just cash it out?
At one point, or just keep them there. It just depends. Like my goal is I'll put it into the stocks so then I can get more money for a down payment and then buy another house like that. Or if it's doing really well and I have money saved up, then use that money that I have saved up.
Yeah, leave it alone.
Do you eventually want to have so much that like your dividends are like a big chunk?
Yeah. I would. It would be nice to be able to live off that and then just kind of
not have to work, not have to do anything.
Yeah, and just travel.
Yeah,
dude, that's so many shares.
That's the move.
It is a lot of shares.